Hello, I'm Eric Bernard.
And I'm Eliana Leventhal. And today we will be exploring tattoos and the chemistry throughout history.
The first tattoo was found on a 5,000-year-old mummy called Otzi, and he had over 60 tattoos on his body. In Otzi's case, some scientists believe that the tattoos are for some kind of therapy because they coincide with the joints that were degenerating, while others say it may have a spiritual connection. But now, let's focus on some ancient societies that used tattoos, starting with Egypt. Tattoos in Egypt were not done by using complex machinery like today's, but instead done by what is known as stick and poke. This meant that the tattoo artist would dip the tip of a sharpened object in ancient ink and stab the individual to apply the ink under the skin. This technique is still used today, but with more modern equipment, like the equipment shown on screen. The ink used in ancient Egypt was not created in a lab like it is now, but instead created by burning organic materials such as wood or oil, and then crushing the materials before mixing it with water. The inky water is then added with what is called a binder, something to keep the particles from clumping up. For the ancient Egyptians, the binder used was often sap from the acacia tree. It is also hypothesized that the Egyptians may have used the branches of the acacia tree to make the charcoal needed for the black ink. The use of tattoos in ancient Egypt is a very debated topic. Some say that the tattoos were used as a status symbol, often by female demimondes, yet others disagree. Critic of the idea, Joan Fletcher, an archaeologist of the University of York, says, although it has long been assumed that such tattoos were the mark of prostitutes, or were meant to protect women against sexually transmitted disease, I personally believe that the tattoos of ancient Egyptian women had a therapeutic role and functioned as a permanent form of an amulet during the very difficult time of pregnancy and birth.
One other ancient society that had tattoos was ancient Japan. At around 610 AD, a Korean monk named Damjin came over to Japan and transferred his production methods for tattooing, or irizumi in Japanese, and he is thought to be the grandfather of Japanese tattooing. Japanese ink was made with a glue called nikawa that came from boiling the epidermis of a cow or deer. The nikawa was then mixed with pine soot or lamp soot to create the kind of ink for use in tattooing. Irizumi is all done by hand using metal needles and wooden handles. Tattoos were symbols of rebellion and roguishness, and they later gained a criminal connotation, which caused many Yakuza members to stop getting tattoos.
The modern-day iteration of tattoos comes in many colors and styles. Although tattoos serve no function to society and are purely for cosmetic purposes, they still have an importance to the consumer buying one. While some get tattoos to enjoy the artwork that goes into them, some may get tattoos for an emotional connection to some point in their life. Tattoos can be bought by anyone age 18 years and older, or in some cases age 16 with an adult permission. Although it may seem less and less prevalent, the tattoo industry is booming and larger than ever. In the US, there are more than 20,000 tattoo parlors, and a new one opens every single day. Furthermore, 36% of Americans between age 18 and 29 have at least one tattoo, and of the 36% of tattooed Americans, 70% have more than one tattoo, and 20% have more than 5. Jonathan Valina, better known as John Boy, is a tattoo artist and considered to be one of the best in America. He has tattooed celebrities ranging from Justin Bieber to Kylie Jenner. He said, 17 years ago, the type getting tattoos were rough around the edges, but today the game has totally changed. I've seen trends and styles come and go, but the fine line, minimalistic designs are definitely the future. The prices of tattoos range across the board. Most tattoo parlors charge between $100 and $300 per hour. The advertising for tattoo parlors is either local or non-existent. This is because if a tattoo parlor is talented, people will recommend their friends to the tattoo parlor, and then those friends will do the same. While tattoos may not serve an immediate obvious part in society, when one expands tattoos to be included under the term of art, the importance of art to society can be answered. Art is important because it allows people to express their thoughts and ideas through a unique medium that changes based on the style and color scheme.
Tattoo can have many different ingredients that are pretty much unknown, since tattooing companies don't legally need to disclose their ingredients. However, there is one known ingredient that is in many tattoo inks, and that ingredient is ethanol. Ethanol's chemical formula is C2H5OH and all of its bonds are covalent. Ethanol's VSEPR structure is AB4, which makes it tetrahedral. Pure or diluted ethanol is a clear liquid with a slight alcoholic scent that has a blue flame when ignited. Dispersion forces, dipole-dipole forces, and hydrogen bonds are all present in this compound. In the ink, the ethanol distributes the other ingredients more evenly and enhances the skin's ability to absorb those ingredients, making it good for strong pigments. The future of tattoos is one that can take many different paths and different ideas. So what is the bad part of the tattoo process that may change for the future? Currently, the process of tattoos is a very painful process, and the removal of tattoos is very costly and doesn't completely work. So let's focus on the second problem. Tattoo companies are currently working on tattoos that last approximately 1 year or 5 years. The process is the same as getting a normal tattoo, but the tattoo degrades throughout time until it is gone from your system. But besides what's wrong with tattoos, there's a lot of cool prospects for tattoos. One type of ink in production can react with the glucose in a diabetic's body so one can monitor their blood sugar levels without having to do blood tests. This project is called Dermal Abyss, and it's made up by a group of MIT and Harvard researchers working to further this idea. So far, they have created 3 types of ink that can measure different aspects of the cells, but the most important one is the one that can detect glucose. It changes from blue to brown as the blood sugar levels rise in the human body. Here's the announcement video put out by the group.
Can tattoos embrace technology in order to make the skin interactive? The Dermal Abyss presents a novel approach to biointerfaces in which the body's surface is rendered an interactive display. Traditional inks were replaced with biosensors whose colours change in response to variations in the interstitial fluid. The pH sensor changes between purple and pink, and the glucose sensor between blue and brown. The sodium and second pH sensor fluoresce at a higher intensity under UV light. The Dermal Abyss creates direct access to the compartments of the body and reflects inner metabolic processes in the shape of a tattoo. It could be used for applications in continuously monitoring, such as medical diagnostics, quantified self, and data encoding in the body. Preliminary evaluation was done in an ex vivo pig skin model. Several injections in the skin were done in order to understand the visibility and functionality of the biosensors. In the same way that the wearables industry is integrating fashion practices into their development, we envision new participation between the biotech companies and skin professionals, such as prosthesis experts and tattooists, in order to embrace the idea of human-device symbiosis.
Another interesting prospect of tattoos is the idea of nanotechnology. Emerge, one of these tech companies, has announced it will be looking into how to get tattoos to be controlled by an app on your phone. Their website claims, prior to e-ink's development, a dynamic image display required a constant current of electricity, inevitably tying the longevity of the display to the power source. Like any other implantable wearable technology, adding a display to our bodies has been limited by the requirements on battery power. E-ink changes this by providing a medium that consumes energy only when the content of the display changes, not requiring current to maintain the image on its display. The result would be a screen on our skin that displays information with very little energy usage.
Clearly, tattoos have grown and will continue to grow in usefulness as they continue to be infused with technology.